All right, okay. So that was a little changeover, and as you can see on my left-hand side, I've got Ben Perrin, who's with us now, and we're going to be doing some tutorials. Yeah, give it up for Ben. Let's give a quick audio test. Can you hear me, Ben?
Yeah, I can. We're good.
Right, I can hear you. Great. So as you can see, I've also had a little bit of a costume change. I'm wearing my Bull Bitcoin hat now because this is the company I work with and for and adore. I'm going to give a quick presentation about who Bull Bitcoin is, why you should be using them, and what we stand for as a company. And then we're going to delve in, and with Ben's setup, we're going to look at how the exchange works and the wallet. So let's get into it. Yeah. Change the screen. Beautiful. So the lowdown. In fact, every single one of the workshops this afternoon is going to take this format. We'll do a lowdown, just give you the who, what, when, wheres, and whys, and then we'll jump into a demo, and then we might, if we have time, do some advanced features as well. So let's have a look at a quick who, what, when, where, and why for Bull Bitcoin. So who is Bull Bitcoin? Bull Bitcoin was founded in around about 2013 by our CEO and founder, Francis Pouliot. And today, we're at Learning Bitcoin, and there are three of us. There's myself, and I work in customer service and evangelization, which covers meetups, educational events, customer support, helping people out. When I'm not on stage on the weekend, I'm usually at home in Quebec City, helping people via Zoom calls or Jitsi calls, and basically helping people get to where they need to go with Bitcoin. We have an extensive team of customer support, dedicated Bitcoiners who will help you out get to where you need to go. There's a support chat, and you can get in touch with us, but usually if it goes more than 2 or 3 responses, you can just call us, or we'll call you, and we'll make sure you need to get what you want from us. There's also Mathieu and Mike who are out at our booth, so if you do want to shake hands with the people that are on the other side of that support chat, come and say hello to us, because it's super important that we're out here to meet you. And I think it's really important for you guys to know who your exchange are, because there is a slight layer of trusting the company to some degree. And Bull Bitcoin really stands out there with the important factors first. And it's cool to come and have the conversations with the people. This is why they put me on stage to do the education piece. This is why we do the booths. And this is why we stand proudly here in Canada as the best exchange for Bitcoin only and self-custody. So we're getting into the what right now. What do? We actually help you buy and sell Bitcoin. It's very simple. We're an exchange. You buy from us or you sell to us. You're buying our Bitcoin. We're not an exchange with buyers and sellers that we match together. We're almost like a broker or an OTC account. So you're buying our Bitcoin from us or selling it to us. And it doesn't stop there. We're actually helping you with a range of other services to be able to live on a Bitcoin standard. So for people who were there yesterday with Ben at the Young Conference, Ben was telling us how he lives his life using only Bitcoin. He's paid in Bitcoin, he earns Bitcoin, and he spends Bitcoin. And there's Bitcoiners out there who think we should just be holding our Bitcoin until the number goes up. But there's another layer of Bitcoiners out there who believe we should be spending our Bitcoin. We should be using it, and we should be making changes that we want to see. So at Bull Bitcoin, we also help you do that. We'll help you be able to pay your credit card bills. You can pay your rent. You can pay anybody through an Interact payment using our service. You simply send us Bitcoin, we move it into Canadian dollars, and put it to where you want it to go. You can pay hydro bills. You can take care of everything pretty much using Bitcoin. So why do we do this? Obviously, we believe in Bitcoin, but the way we operate is that we're a self-custodial exchange, which means we never hold your Bitcoin for you. As soon as you buy Bitcoin with us, we ask for an address. We'll receive Canadian funds, move it into Bitcoin, and send it straight out to that address that you gave us. We don't want to hold any of your money. As we covered in the history of money, we want you to hold your money, and that's the advantage of Bitcoin, is that you can hold it yourselves. We're simply a way from getting from A to B. So, why are we Bitcoin only? We believe that we're on a mission to destroy fiat currency, to destroy central banking, and bring about the change in the monetary system that we want to see. And we're not going to achieve that if we're dealing with different coins, offering different properties to different problems that arguably don't really exist or are not important to us. We're laser focused on being able to change the money so that we can evolve as a society. So this is why we aim for Bitcoin only. And then what is self-custody? It's holding that money. It's being able to say that I hold my Bitcoin myself. So if even Bull Bitcoin goes broke tomorrow, if we get hacked, if Francis disappears into the jungle, it's fine. All of our users and all of our customers and all of our clients and the people we know are all made whole, or don't even need to be, because they hold their Bitcoin on their wallet. And why not another exchange? We value privacy. Now, we operate here in Canada, and we're FINTRAC regulated, and we follow the regulation, but we don't over-comply, and we don't accidentally share your information. And we do everything we can to make sure we're working as hard as possible to protect your privacy. And that's why, yes, you do need a KYC account to operate at Bull Bitcoin, but we do things like at Learning Bitcoin, you can come and visit us at the booth tomorrow. And if you don't want to scan your driver's license, if you don't have an account with us, you can come and show me, and I'll look at it, and I'll look at your face, and we'll open you an account. We can do an OTC KYC if you want with us this weekend, where you don't have to be sending all your data to some other server in some other country with a different company. We want to make sure that we're keeping your privacy and your sovereignty A1 important. So that's the little pitch on Bull Bitcoin, and this is why I'm happy to work for them and present to you our demo. So let's jump into it. Ben, sorry, that was a bit of blah, blah. Ben's going to guide us through this a little bit. So,
Pablo, can I interrupt just one sec? I think there's some questions that might start coming up in people's minds during Ben's demo and during your discussions. Would you hold all questions till the end, and you'll give us time?
Yeah, we'll cover
them,
questions at the end. We'll
Sure.
do a demo, and then we'll take Q&A. And if there's no questions, we'll do advanced features. I think that sounds good.
Perfect.
Cool.
All right. So, Ben, what are we looking at right now?
Yeah, so I'm going to opine a little bit on what I think is cool about having dove into this wallet and seen how it works. And it's brought in a number of things that I think are pretty unique to the Bitcoin experience. And so, yeah, what are we looking at right now? Let's just kind of get a lay of the land, what is in front of us. So obviously, you'll notice there's a balance. So we've been doing some testing with this wallet, and there's some transactions and everything. But in general, what you're going to see is up top, you have a balance. Your balance, you can choose how you see that. You can choose, is it going to be in sats, so again, 100 million sats in a Bitcoin, or are you going to be looking at decimals, like 1 point, so on and so forth, Bitcoin. Below that, we can see the Canadian dollar equivalent. What is the Bitcoin in my wallet currently worth in Canadian dollars, or whatever you set your local currency to? You can denominate it in other currencies. There's a nice little toggle switch to hide balances here, the little eyeball there. Just below that, you have a number of different buttons. Buy and sell. Now, you may be looking at that thinking, oh, so you're on the exchange right now. No, the money here is self-custody. As Pablo said, they're not taking custody of your money. This is my own wallet, but baked directly into the wallet is access to your Bull Bitcoin account if you've signed up for one. You can use the Bull Bitcoin wallet as just a wallet, but you can also plug it into your existing Bull Bitcoin account to purchase or sell. Beside that, we also have pay. So pay a bill, pay a credit card, pay a person, whatever you want to do with that. You also have swap. What the hell is swap? Swap is, now earlier you talked about transaction fees and layer 2s. And so we've been talking a lot about regular on-chain Bitcoin transactions. A regular base Bitcoin transaction. Layer 2s allow for cheap, nearly instant transactions using Bitcoin. So swapping between a day-to-day spending wallet versus kind of larger amount and kind of savings-based regular Bitcoin transactions. So that's the swap button. So those are the buttons here. I also see a notification backing up your wallet. We'll touch on that in a minute too.
Yeah, I think we'll get to that when we have some sats on that.
Yeah. And then down below we see two separate accounts. Secure Bitcoin, that's your regular on-chain Bitcoin, and then instant payments. That's your layer 2 Bitcoin for quick, fast, cheap payments. And we can see my balance, given that it's a little bit smaller, it's less than 20 bucks, it's all in my instant payment wallet, which makes sense. We can have balances in both of these, and I can swap between them as I see fit, okay? Down at the bottom, receive and send. Those are your regular receiving and sending Bitcoin with a regular wallet. And then down at the bottom, very bottom, we have wallet, which is selected right now. That's the screen we're on. And then we have exchange on the right. I'm going to show you what the exchange looks like. We're already logged into a dummy account that we're using for demo purposes, but we're currently on the wallet screen. I'm going to switch over to the exchange screen, and it looks like this. And this shows that I have a Bull Bitcoin account sitting here. There's $184 sitting in that account, Canadian dollars. And if I want to utilize that balance to obtain Bitcoin, I can do it from either this screen or even from the wallet screen. There's a buy button. But I know that I have, if I click on exchange, I have a Canadian dollar balance. Before I start doing things, would you like to comment on anything, Pablo? Am I missing anything?
No, that's a really good way of navigating through the app. So the app is available right now on iOS and on Android. It's available through TestFlight. I'll be giving up QR codes at the end, and they should work. But essentially what we've done here, some people might want to know, how do you get Canadian dollars onto the app? So we're not going to do this live because obviously Ben's going to have to log into his bank and send funds across, and that's confidential information. However, it's super simple. From the exchange, you simply click on Fund, and we give you Interact details. So it's like sending to your brother or your neighbor or paying your rent. And we've got these options up here. So you click on Funding, and Ben, do you want to click on Email e-transfer, which we call Interact? So obviously, we'll give you a little warning message, and it's good to make sure you're sending Bitcoin to yourself. You want to hold that. And then it'll generate some information here. So this is really simple. If you wanted to fund your account, you simply create a payee. You might be a BMO, Desjardins, TD, whatever. You create a name, an email address, and then a transfer code, which is linked to your account. And within 3, 4, 5 minutes, you have Canadian dollars on your account ready to buy Bitcoin. Like I said, this is the cash side of things. We're not going to touch that in the workshop. But if you do want help or you want a demo, I'd be happy to do this tomorrow with my own account, from my own bank account, and show you how simple it can be. But we're just going to skip to the interesting part, which is the buy. Thanks,
okay.
Ben.
So we're going to pretend e-transfer already went through, landed in the account. I've got dollars. I don't want dollars anymore. I want Bitcoin. So I'm going to do the intuitive thing, which is hit buy. And it says, well, how much of your Canadian dollar balance do you want to use to buy Bitcoin at this moment? And some people may fund their account and then dollar cost average in, but screw that. We're just going to get rid of all those dollars immediately, because who wants those? And then down below, it gives me some options. So it's coming from my Canadian dollar balance. It says, where do you want this going? I've got options. I've got my secure Bitcoin. That would be my on-chain Bitcoin, a regular Bitcoin transaction. Or do I want this going into my instant payments balance? So for cheap, quick, day-to-day spending. So I can choose. Pablo, do you have a preference right now?
Well, actually, what we do at Bull Bitcoin is, for new people, we've covered UTXOs in the last workshop, but we also help you take steps towards understanding it through our UX. So we put a limit on how much you can buy on-chain, because we don't want you to have to pay large fees later. So anything under $200 is actually better off on the instant payments. And that works out well for this demo, because we're going to see the Bitcoin go through a lot quicker.
Okay.
So I'd suggest that.
All right, so go into my instant payments wallet. I'm going to choose continue. So it gives me a little rundown of what's happening. I'm taking around $184. I'm going to receive 113,000 some odd sats. It gives me the current Bitcoin price that I'm purchasing at if I were purchasing a whole Bitcoin, and it's going to my instant payments wallet. I've got a little timer that will run down. If I don't buy within 5 minutes, it will re-quote me on the price. but I think everything looks good, so I'm just going to hit confirm, and it should execute the buy pretty quick here, if the Wi-Fi allows.
So what it's doing right now is it'll send a request saying, OK, this price with Ben's account and the address that he specified, we need to close all of that into one transaction and send it through. And there we go.
Okay.
I always think it's worth a round of applause when someone buys Bitcoin.
Yeah. Don't we all feel better that a person in the room owns less Canadian dollars? I know I do. Now there's some cool stuff here. You can hit view details for the people that want to dive a little bit deeper into what's going on here. View details. Okay. So
yeah, this is cool for my Bitcoiners out there who are like, okay, get to the point. Like, I do like some of this stuff in here.
Yeah, so it gives me, you know, again, overarching, okay, I got 113,000 sats, you know, I made a purchase. It gives me a transaction ID. This allows me to look up my transactions on, depending on how I purchased it, either the Bitcoin blockchain or the Liquid sidechain. That's the instant payment thing that we're dealing with here. Again, gives me a status, it's confirmed. I purchased Bitcoin, I have an order number, all the details about everything. I can add a note to it if I want to, oh, I purchased this for this reason. Whatever I want to do here.
So just a little side note on there whilst we're looking at the screen. For people who are used to buying and selling Bitcoin regularly, one of the cool things about the wallet is that you can plug in your own node to this thing. So when you click on the transaction ID for an on-chain transaction, I know for my beginners this is maybe gobbledygook, but you can actually jump onto your own copy of the mempool. So you can plug your own node into this wallet, and it's checking your version of the blockchain. If you remember the beads activity we did in Workshop 2, that's what it's checking. It's checking our version of the beads at Bull Bitcoin, which is a no-logs Electrum server. And as a backup server, it uses Blockstream's no-logs backup server. But if you want to, you can run your own node, and it'll check your own server as well.
Yeah, so you don't need to trust Bull Bitcoin to give you information about the global ledger of who owns what. You can just check your copy, which is pretty cool. So I'll X out of that and X out of my I just bought. And so I'm now on the wallet screen, and we can see an updated balance. I now have just over $200 in my instant payments. And if I go to the exchange, we can see I'm zeroed out. I spent all my dollars, I got rid of all my dollars, and now in my wallet where I hold the keys, I have Bitcoin now.
All right, yeah, we made a sovereign individual. Awesome, awesome. I do see there are questions, actually, maybe as we go through. I might get to them at the end, if that's OK. Remember your question, write it down on the pen and paper if you want. Mm-hmm. OK. Ben, I can see something, right? So you hold your own keys, and you bought some Bitcoin, so you have sound money. What can you do to protect that? It says protect your Bitcoin. Can we maybe check this out? We're doing a live demo and improvising this thing here as well, so this is going to be fun. But I want to see, Ben, how you would go about protecting your Bitcoin.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So right now, this wallet is in a state where the keys to my money reside solely on my phone right now. So yes, I own my Bitcoin, I own the keys to my Bitcoin, nobody else does. But if my phone went kaput right now, or if I deleted the app, I would lose the keys to my money. I would like to have a spare key. And so the protect your Bitcoin button, the backup your Bitcoin wallet right now, I'm going to create a spare key so that if I delete the app or I smash my phone, I will be able to retain a second key just in case. So I'll click through here, and you've got a couple options. And this is actually very, very interesting the way that this is done. So you've got, those of you familiar, you've got your traditional 12-word seed phrase backup. And some of you may say, that is for me. That is, I'm used to that. I'm a hardened Bitcoiner. I will not deviate from my regular seed phrase. But there's also a really interesting secondary option. Pablo, I'm wondering if you could maybe chat a little bit about this encrypted vault.
OK, so at BTC Prague, which was only a few weeks ago, Francis announced on stage that we're pioneering a new protocol. It's an open source protocol that any wallet can build into their wallet. But we built it into ours first, obviously. We got the head start because we made it. The service is called Recoverable. Now, Recoverable, through using encryption and a key server, will allow you to encrypt your seed and store it on cloud with full privacy and impenetrable encryption. How do we encrypt? Through hashing, right? This is where the hashing part comes in. Francis has managed to pioneer a way that you can store your seed phrase online and not risk losing pieces of paper or not risk forgetting the passphrase, because there's always been a problem with backing up Bitcoin wallets. If you've ever onboarded a friend or a family and they've lost their seed phrase because they didn't take it seriously, this is for you. We're able to place an encryption of a key stored on the seed phrase. With a PIN, you can decrypt that key, which will then decrypt a copy of the seed phrase. It's like a lock and key kind of notion. In terms of the cryptography, it is super complex, and we do have a white paper out there for any developers, programmers, or people who want to install this and build it into their wallet. But I just want to show you, hopefully, and this is live as of 3 days ago, live demo, everyone. We're going to see how this would work. So let's try it out, Ben.
All right,
crossing fingers.
Let's go. I've yet to do this, so we're doing it live.
Yeah. All right. So first of all, you click on you want the encrypted vault, and it asks you where would you like to put it. So Ben's on an Android device, so we're looking at Google Drive here or a custom location, which could be anywhere he likes, like on an SD card, for example.
Yeah.
However, if you're on an iPhone, we'll also offer iCloud. So you'll be able to store an encrypted version of Seed on iCloud. But let's try out Google Drive here.
Okay.
OK, it's going to ask him to sign into his account on Google, obviously. And then you'll click to agree that Bull Bitcoin can use Google Drive.
I don't know if I trust you. OK.
All right. So then what it's going to do is it's going to be able to see, create, and delete its own configuration file in your Google Drive. So that's all we get permission to do, is to just drop a config file onto Google Drive. All right. So the key to encryption now is this PIN. Now, this is the only thing you have to remember. You don't have to remember 24 words. You don't have to punch in steal. You just have to basically put in a PIN.
Okay. I'm going to choose a super secure one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Please. Oh, you guys have thought of everything.
Yeah, we can't punch in a super easy PIN.
Okay.
So it can be easy to yourself. It can be 2 dates of birth. It can be the 2 dates of birth of your children. It can be the house you lived at. But we've taken the first 1,000 easy pins and blocked those.
Okay, let's get creative here.
You want to remember it, Ben?
Yep. Oh, you guys are like on top of things here. All right, I've got to. Okay, let's do this.
I have a pen.
Okay, we're good. Luckily, I don't use this pin for anything else, but okay. It's my year of birth and the day of month that I was born.
All right, so now what it's going to do is it's going to connect to our key server, which is a remote server that'll store the key there. And it connects via Tor, so there's no man-in-the-middle attack.
If I forget my PIN, just remind me that it was my year of birth and the day.
I think we have enough people who should know the PIN, right? Let's try and see if we can do this.
Come back through the footage. What was it again? Okay. All right. Test backup.
Let's do that. Let's test the backup, because it's always worth that. It's like testing the fire escape. You're best to test it before you need it.
Okay. Test. Encrypted vault. From my Google Drive. Okay, backup ID, successfully imported. Let's decrypt it with the PIN.
All right, so I'll reach out back to that server with the PIN that Ben's put in on the device, and then it'll decrypt the key, which will go over to Google Drive and unlock. And there we go, it's complete. I'm happy about that. I'm breathing a sigh of relief, but we got it there.
Yeah.
So essentially what Ben can do now, shall we test it right out with like $200?
Yeah, like delete. Are we going to
Delete Bull Bitcoin. Let's delete Bull Bitcoin and let's really test this. Francis put me on stage and was like, Pablo, you need to demo the live recovery wallet. So if you don't trust us, we're going to test it out for ourselves. And we've got skin in the game here.
I can't like wipe the wallet from within the wallet. We're just going to delete it?
Yeah, uninstall the app and delete it.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so this would happen in the situation where Ben lost his phone.
Yeah.
So let's imagine.
I mean, joke's on Pablo because it's not my money.
It's actually my money. So I've really got skin in the game here. Like, if this doesn't work, we've lost $200.
Yeah.
Because this is the beauty of Bitcoin. The key is the secret to everything you need. If you don't have that key, you don't have access to the funds, which means your bank don't have access to your funds, which means your neighbor doesn't, and no one online does. But the way you keep that key secret and safe is vitally important. We're building it into the app and making it way more foolproof than writing down words that might be erroneous, lost, or destroyed.
Yeah.
All right, you're on it.
Now, this was a hurdle for me as I was understanding it. But when I was talking to Francis, he was helping describe to me, you don't have your seed phrase sitting on Google Drive encrypted by a 6-digit PIN. That would not be super secure. Again, you're talking about a secondary server. So the trick of it is, and I'll open back up the app here as I talk, but your seed is encrypted. It's on Google Drive, but there's a decryption key that is on a totally different server somewhere else. And so what you're actually doing when you're recovering is you're actually reaching out to this totally different server, which then you can pull the decryption key, and then you're using your PIN to access the decryption key, and then use that to decrypt your seed that's on your Google Drive. So in order to be compromised, somebody has to hack into your Google Drive and get your encrypted seed. Somebody has to figure out where the hell that other server is that has the decryption key somewhere, and they have to hack that server, match the two things, somehow figure out which file goes with which, and then also know the PIN that will make it all work together. So it is so unlikely somebody would be able to do that. I think it's a pretty intuitive solution. So
we're basically able to secure our instant spend wallet and our hot wallet with a PIN. And that's the way it works. Now, we're not trying to replace cold storage here. This is not a cold storage alternative. And we'll get to cold storage in a second, but I'm kind of nervous about this recovery now. Let's hope it works.
Okay, recover wallet, encrypted vault from Google Drive. It's in here, takes a look.
Okay, so first of all, I'm a few because we've gone up to Google Drive and we've found the wallet vault is there.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can decrypt it.
What was it again?
My heart is actually beating for $200 now. Like, you know, this is my going out money tonight. All right. Hey. We did it live for the first time. This is awesome.
Did your heart flutter when it said 0 for a second?
I actually did. I was like, sync, please. But yeah, essentially what it did was it pulled to the Bull Bitcoin mempool and looked at the balances and then was able to confirm it. So those are the beads we're talking about again. It calls up and pulls them out.
Yeah.
So you've essentially backed up your hot wallet through 2 layers of encryption with just a PIN. So it's way much easier than 12 words, which is what we tell a lot of people to do. Write down these words, but usually it doesn't happen that way.
One thing to note here, we recovered our wallet, like our wallet seed. So the funds that are just ours that we own the keys to. The recovery process did not include logging into the exchange. So if I click on exchange right now, it doesn't know who I am right now. So just, again, to reiterate the point, we have keys to our money in our own private wallet that is actually separate from the exchange that we were logged into. So I'll click away from this and I'll re-log in so we have access to it again.
Yep.
But again, just to differentiate, these two tabs on the bottom, the wallet is a complete self-sovereign wallet that you own. The exchange tab just allows your self-sovereign wallet to interact with the online exchange process.
So this has two advantages, right? Because Bull Bitcoin doesn't know the balance of the wallet. That's your wallet. We don't know anything about it. But you also have access to our exchange. So if you want to buy or sell Bitcoin out of the house when you're on the go, you can use that straight away. But also if Ben was to be like, screw Bull Bitcoin, I want to use another wallet, he could just import the seed phrase into any other liquid native wallet like Aqua or Blockstream, and it would pull the same balance. In fact, I have Blockstream running on my same cell phone with my Bull Bitcoin wallet, and they have the same balance, and they are the same app, essentially. All right, so Ben's just logging back into the exchange here off screen. So he's entering an email and a password. And that's pretty much it. So maybe what we can do with our remaining time, I just want to talk about some of the key features. Obviously, Bull Bitcoin, buy, sell, take care of bills. But I kind of like the pressure of doing things live on screen in front of you guys. So another cool feature we brought out, I'm super, super happy to be able to announce this. But just out of a raise of hands, who's seen Ben demo one of these devices, the Cold Card Q? Just raise your hands. All right. I'm not going to ask. I don't know why I'm talking into this like a microphone. OK. I'm not going to ask who has the Cold Card Q. We respect your privacy. But they're the stone cold wallet to be using. Personally, I use one. Ben's using one up here. And at Bull Bitcoin, we want you to integrate it into your wallet as well. So this is a brand new feature, again, which came out this week, and we're going to show you a demo of how you can use your cold card in conjunction with Bull Bitcoin's exchange, wallet, liquid, and lightning, with that recovery function as well. We really think we've created like a killer app that is a one-stop shop. So when you're all logged in and ready to go there, Ben, we're going to go to the Bull Bitcoin wallet and click Import.
OK.
Hey, Mom.
OK, so go back to the wallet.
OK, so what you're going to do right away here is on the Bull wallet, click on the settings at the top on the right, and then head to Bitcoin settings. And then you can see where you can add your own Electrum server, but you can also see auto swap. So you'll be able to auto swap between liquid and on-chain. For those people who don't like liquid, you can move on-chain when it's enough. Import wallet is what we're going to click. And then we're going to click on Scan QR code. Now, you could put a mnemonic in of any cold storage device if you wanted to, but that would break the coldness of it. So what Ben's got now is he's got his camera open, and he's going to scan a QR code from his Cold Card Q.
Now, I'm going to, before I do that really quick, I'm going to actually show.
Great. Now it feels like a BTC session.
Yeah,
I love this.
There we go. So, Pablo, I'm going to export a wallet. That's correct?
Yep.
So I go to Advanced, and I choose I want to export a wallet.
All right, and this is what we were talking about earlier. I don't think you've done this yet, and I hadn't done this before this feature came out. Usually you'll go to generic JSON, or you'll go to one of the wallets like Sparrow or Fully Noded. But actually, we're going to keep coming down this list, and we should see descriptor. There it is. All right, click on descriptor. OK, and then you're going to move through until you get the QR code. So you can press Enter for a 0 account value. And then a classic SegWit, for those of you who know, it's lower fees and faster. And it's going to generate a descriptor QR code, which should now be scanned once you hit QR by the Bull Bitcoin wallet. Let's see if that works.
So once again, import wallet, scan QR, and hopefully it likes it. There we go.
Right. So really quickly, the Bull Bitcoin wallet was able to scan the Cold Card Q. We know it's a signing device of a Cold Card Q because the description was in the QR code. And he can give it his own label, so he can be like, Cold Card Q test wallet or whatever. Import that. Then it'll take a while, and it'll import the keys. And hopefully, we should see the wallet, there we go, pop up. So we've got every single layer of Bitcoin custody we want. We have instant payment, liquid lightning. We have on-chain, secured by a fee, secured by a seed. And we also have a cold wallet. Now, this isn't the keys on here. This is a unique watch-only wallet. So we can check the balance, and we can receive some funds. So what I'd like you to try and do, we probably can't spend because we're not going to get it through a confirm time, but I'd like to see if you can move some from the instant payment wallet onto cold storage. We're moving from liquids into cold storage.
Yeah.
And again, this is new.
Yeah, so we're moving from liquid to not only on-chain, but on-chain on our own cold storage within the same interface. So from a single place, we've been able to see Canadian dollars swap into Bitcoin in an instant payment layer 2, and now we're not just moving it into on-chain, we're moving it into an account which is secured by this, meaning that if I want to spend, somebody gets a hold of my phone, they can't spend without also having this device and the PIN to this device. This is like the key to my money is now external from my phone, and this device is not online. So if I want to approve a transaction, I have to scan it with this and say, yes, that's okay, and prove it to my phone. So let's get this money and move it over. So what, we're gonna swap here?
Yeah, now I gotta work this out as well as we try and swap from, because let's have a look at our options. So we're gonna swap to, and then does it say secure Bitcoin? Let me have a look, instant payments to secure Bitcoin.
Secure Bitcoin. So I think, let me just see here. Now, can I do this? No.
We're again working this out live as we integrate.
Yeah, live as we go. Okay, so I think I'm gonna have to, am I gonna have to swap to on-chain perhaps?
I think you might have to swap to on-chain and then move from on-chain off, but try and grab a receive address from the cold card first and then try and jam that into a send from Liquid. See if it'll do this one.
Oh, much better, okay. So we'll go to my cold card.
Grab a
I wanna
receive
receive.
address. So the Bull wallet is able to use the public key to pull the addresses we need. So that's kind of half of the solution.
Okay, so I've got my cold card address that I just grabbed.
And then let's jump into the instant payment wallet on Liquid and see if you can send it to an on-chain address.
I don't know if I can. Oh, sorry. It's weird doing it from
on the computer on your cell phone.
On the computer / on the phone. Okay, let me just do that one more time. Here's my cold card, and I'm gonna copy the address from it. Then I'll back out. I'll go to my instant payments. I'll try sending directly from there.
And we'll see if this works. I haven't also tried this as well. There we go. So it's got it as an address.
Does it know?
And then how much would you want to send? Now this is my Bitcoin here, Ben.
Yeah, so I'm just throwing.
Well, technically it's not my Bitcoin. It was my Canadian dollars, and now you own the keys, so it's his Bitcoin.
Yeah, ownership is 10/10 of the law, my friend. All right, so let's see if what happens to Pablo's Bitcoin.
Yeah, let's push it from a Liquid wallet onto a cold card and see what happens. So you can see at the top we actually have, we just moved past it. You have Bitcoin, Liquid, and Lightning.
Okay, Bitcoin swaps will take time to confirm. Okay.
So what we're doing is we're taking Liquid Bitcoin, taking an address from the cold card, swapping it into on-chain, and moving it into cold storage. So what this would look like on a day-to-day basis is you could buy $5 of Bitcoin every day onto Liquid. You wouldn't have to deal with any of the fees. You could consolidate from Liquid onto cold storage using just the one app. So we here at Bull Bitcoin, we've figured that we've got every solution for all of these different technical issues that you may come across when using Bitcoin layer 1, 2, cold and hot, also backups. And for people who are kind of in the audience who are following me for the history of money and following me for the beads and stuff, it's a one-stop shop. We've basically created the equivalent of this thing that I carry everywhere. This is my Swiss Army knife. And yeah, it's not as cool as a Leatherman. I suppose I need 2 hands to use it and whatever, but it gets the job done. It has every single tool built into it in a nice compact format. So I really feel that the Bull Bitcoin wallet, as a Bitcoiner, it's a daily driver and it's something that can get the job done for buying a coffee or for checking on how much my stack is on my cold device.
I just hit confirm. Okay, swap initiated. So this, it'll take a couple of minutes because basically we sent a Liquid Bitcoin payment. It's going through what's called an atomic swap, and then that will then trigger a send of on-chain Bitcoin to my cold card.
All right.
My cold card.
There you go. I'm going to have to be really nice and kind to Ben for the rest of the day now to try and get my funds back. So you can see we give you the progress of the swap as well. So if a swap ever fails, it bounces back, and it's backed up by the Liquid network, which we'll talk about maybe with Blockstream on Workshop 6 as well. But we kind of figured this is the best ways that you can have instant payments whilst holding your keys and also allowing you to swap into the most secure storage possible all in one app. The Bull Bitcoin wallet is still out at the moment. In fact, do you want to just delve into some? We've maybe got a couple minutes and then some questions, just into some of the features, just have a poke around.
Yeah.
So click on an X here and just jump into some of the settings.
Obviously, okay to X out of this. So just to be clear, like the swap is already in progress. I don't need to leave this open or anything. It's not going to cancel it if I X out here. So I'll just back out. Okay. So what do you want to focus on first?
Just jump into the settings and just show people real quick just some of the stuff we have about the exchange settings. So in here, you should be able to set your account information. We won't look at that. It's my stuff. You can also check on your referrals for the mission. If anybody's in the mission and referring clients, we'll give you 0.5% volume for everybody who uses the platform.
Yeah.
And security settings. We have 2FA obviously on the exchange, so you can back up your account. So that $180 that was on the exchange can be 2FA backed up. Yeah. If you just jump back out, you have your wallet backup, which we've covered, and the Bitcoin settings as well, if you want to jump in there. So we have the wallets. You can check out information. You can get the pub key, the master fingerprint, and everything you need about the wallet to be able to manage it, and the Electrum server. Let's jump in there. OK, so we can see we can use the Bitcoin network, and we can use a default or a custom. So you can validate that, and you can actually put in your own mainnet, and you can also use testnet on this wallet as well. So there's a lot of advanced features for people out there who are kind of well-versed in Bitcoin. You can really use this to take care of business. So people might be asking as well what happens with the money on the cold card, and you can actually see we can broadcast the transactions as well. So you can send a partially signed Bitcoin transaction over to the cold card and then send it back using the cell phone onto the mempool.
Yeah. So that's there. So yeah, sending Bitcoin broadcast here. The other thing, I like this auto swap. So this means, okay, maybe you're worried about having too much sitting in your instant payments wallet. Well, you can enable auto swap and then set a threshold. If I get up to 1 million sats in my instant payments wallet, it will automatically swap over a certain amount into my on-chain, or I imagine into my cold card.
That would be dope. I got to check that out, though.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely dope if we can auto swap onto cold.
Yeah.
And you can also program your fees as well. So if it auto swaps when fees are really high, it's not going to pay that fee.
Yeah.
It'll wait until they drop down, and then it'll push it through at like 3 a.m. when you're going to save on fees.
Perfect.
All right, so we can jump back
We already did this.
onto the main screen. I think there were a couple of questions kicking around there. I'm not sure if a volunteer has a microphone. Can I see anybody with a microphone? Fiona, thank you. It was kind of down at the front. There was somebody in a blue shirt who had a question. We can maybe grab a couple of questions before we wrap up. Yeah, we got a question over there.
By the way, we have money in the cold card now.
Oh, it's picked up the, yeah, let's do that. All right.
Nice.
Sweet.
Okay, I've got 2 or 3 questions. I want to ask a very basic question.
You're only allowed
I think
two.
I missed it. All right, well, good. Then I'll make 2. I'll make 3 too.
Yeah, punch them together.
Why would you transact with Bitcoin? First, why would you actually transact with Bitcoin? Why wouldn't you use fiat to transact? I'm just curious.
I have 2 reasons.
Ben uses Bitcoin more than me in his daily life, so I'm going to ask Ben this one.
So I'm a crazy person who has been living on Bitcoin for 5 years as my main source of income and as my main way of purchasing everything that I need. And that comes from a place of, I just don't want dollars anymore. So you reach, I imagine the question is coming from a place of, if I have dollars to spend, why am I spending Bitcoin? Right? Because Bitcoin is the scarce thing and dollars are worthless. Yeah, so for me, it's that dollars are so worthless to me that I don't want them anymore. And so I then must spend Bitcoin. But outside of that, I look at it as, I also want to ensure that Bitcoin begins being used as money from a mindset of potential censorship in the future. And what I mean is, there are some Bitcoiners that have never met other Bitcoiners in person, and they're remaining anonymous, all this kind of stuff, and they're stacking away their Bitcoin. In a world where all of a sudden something happens where Bitcoin's illegal, you're not allowed to hold it yourself, you're not allowed to use it, if you own it, you got to own it in an ETF, whatever. If that happens, the person who is still holding their own Bitcoin, how do you then use it? How do you then realize that value? And I think that the way that you can be the most censorship resistant possible is by forming meaningful bonds with your community and people who are like-minded, and actually frequenting people that build quality products and services and rewarding them with the soundest money that mankind has ever seen. And I think doing that not only creates those community bonds, but also encourages people that are building quality things to continue doing so. So it's an ideological thing for me as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. And so I'll put the other two together. So I'm watching the demo. I didn't notice the fees transactions. Where do you see the fee and the conversion? And then I'd be curious to know why you might have both Bull and Blockstream.
Sure. So, in fact, you have a web browser whilst you're on your computer there. In fact, you can find all of our rates. There are fees when you buy at Bull Bitcoin, right? So the way that our fees work is we don't have any hidden fees. We don't have any withdrawal fees. We don't have any deposit fees. The only time you'll pay a fee is when you buy or sell Bitcoin, because that's our business. We help you buy and sell Bitcoin. So we have a spread, and the spread does vary, but it's around 2%, the difference between the buy and the sell. So when you click buy, the price that you're quoted is different from the price when you click sell. It's just like when you go on vacation to Mexico or to Europe, you need euros or pesos or whatever it may be. You'll see those two prices, right? You'll see a buy price and a sell price. And that's how our business works. The 2% is what puts me on stage and what enables us to develop these tools for you guys. It goes right back into the company, and we don't have any funding from CFOs or venture capitalists. We're not listed on any stock market. We're a group of passionate Bitcoiners who use that spread to advance your sovereignty. So.
Oh, when you go to
if you'll jump into the exchange on the buy, can we see it right here?
I think you have to have a balance in order to see it. But if I do a sell, let's just put in $100. Oops. Oh, right. It's in cold storage. I have to move it into one of these two wallets. That's why.
So what I'd recommend for you, if you want to check it out, is go to bullbitcoin.com/rates. And then you'll get to see the spread, because it does change depending on the liquidity, the volatility of the market. There is a small move between those prices, but bullbitcoin.com/rates gives you two lines, and you can see exactly where you're at. And you can check it out in euros, you can check it out in pesos, you can check it out in colones for Costa Rica, because we operate outside of Canada as well. So you can also see how other currencies are doing versus Bitcoin. Is the dollar doing better than the euro, for example? It's a nice way to check that out.
The other question you had about why would you have this wallet and this wallet and this wallet. So for me, I literally test out just every possible thing. Later, we're going to do a demo on the Blockstream Jade hardware device. And so the Jade does work with various different options, but it was built by Blockstream, so it works, I'd say, arguably best with their software because they built both and they play well together. For me, again, I've got a ton of different wallets here, and I'm always tinkering and figuring out what do I like, what do I want to use right now, and so that for me is always evolving. Some people may just settle into, I like using this and it has what I need, so I'm just going to stick with this particular wallet. I'm a bit more experimental. But even your average person will probably have a day-to-day spending wallet and something that they use for long-term savings. So they may have a couple different things.
Yeah, I was saying that I have the same seed phrase, so the same 12 words on Blockstream and on Bull Bitcoin, right? I use the Bull Bitcoin app daily, but I also delete it and mess around with it and try and break it and bug fix. And so I'm really screwing around with the Bull Bitcoin app every day. The Blockstream app has the same balance and the same transactions, but I just kind of leave it there. It's kind of like a lazy way of backing up my seed phrase. And I might have 6 Bull Bitcoin wallets, but my Jade one is the one that I keep for my spends. And I can move back and forth, because this is the beauty of Bitcoin. The seed phrase can be applied to any software developer, any app, and it'll bring the balance with it, because it's not the company that own your Bitcoin, it's those words. So if you put those words into a different app, the balance will pull through onto that app. So if you do have a 12-word seed phrase or a wallet you're using somewhere else, and you want to try out Bull Bitcoin, you can actually import the seed phrase if you wanted to for hot wallets, not for cold wallets, but for hot wallets, you could do that, and it'll pull through the balance, and you'll be like, huh. It's agnostic.
Who was there yesterday when I did my talk about all the different items that I'm using and wallets that I'm using nowadays? Okay, if you were there the other day, that last point that I made about that special tool called BIP85, that's a good way to, if you're testing out the Bull Bitcoin app, you can always generate a child seed and then go into the Bull Bitcoin app, and instead of generating a new wallet, say import wallet, and use that seed. Just an idea if you're playing around.
Yeah. If you want to come and like discuss maybe strategies, like you don't have to tell us any personal information, but just choices, options, which wallets. I have this wallet here. I have a seed phrase there. What's the best way to upgrade my security? Because at the end of the day, that's what we want you to have, practical tools that are secured. Come and see us at the Bull Bitcoin booth, and we'll help kind of map things out for you. And Ben's an expert in this as well. And we're happy to work with Ben directly through Bitcoin Mentor as well, which is something we haven't even talked about yet. That's a whole new system and a whole new way that we can guide you through all of these tools. But we're just really happy to be able to present this to you. Are there any more questions out there if we see any more hands? Yeah, Fiona's got a question.
All right. Hello. So first of all, I think that this app looks amazing. Fantastic job. And I could see Bitcoin sessions being done on it.
It just happened.
Well, one that would be recorded, maybe a little bit more polished.
Yeah. The video is, now that it's incorporated all these different things, I think it's in order that a video should be. Pretty
right. Thanks for pushing for the video. I'm looking forward to it. I will watch all of it as well. I love his videos. I'll even watch my own app on the video.
And yeah, and I will say that the Bitcoin Sessions is perhaps the most polished YouTube channel that I've seen on.
Thank you.
On the top.
That's super.
Yeah, let's give it up for Ben.
Yes.
So I've got a practical concern that I think affects everyone. If I'm right, I'm happy to be wrong about it, and that's the issue of capital gains. Because the way that that it's being presented now, and the way that we're talking about it, it's as if Bitcoin's a currency. However, governments do not view it as a currency. And there are supposed to be capital gains paid every time we're doing a transaction with it. So I'd like to understand how you think about this issue and how you would address it.
So I'll say one thing. Always, if you're uncertain about something, like I'm not an accountant, you should consult your accountant. But I will say one thing in relation to when somebody says, oh, if I try living on a Bitcoin standard and Bitcoin goes up, then what if I have to, go and pay gains on the appreciation? I would counter that with, think about every time you spend dollars that you've saved. You're most certainly experiencing a loss, which you cannot claim. Your purchasing power is constantly going down. If you are living on Bitcoin and it goes up, that means that you would then technically be required to pay back a portion of the price appreciation or the increased purchasing power that you've experienced, which means you are still up in that instance. And so it's a little bit like, if arguing against living on a Bitcoin standard is because you're going to have to pay back part of the gain, it's kind of like, I don't want to win the lottery if I have to pay a little bit of taxes on it. It's like, no, you still want to be up compared to where you are. And now, if you're like, it's just so much work, it's going to be a nightmare to keep track of. Okay, yeah, valid. There is hoops to jump through. Living on Bitcoin is not the easiest thing. But if the sole argument is, I'm going to be making, my net worth is going to go up, and I'm going to owe on part of that, versus I'm perpetually losing purchasing power, I think that's a weak argument. So that's kind of my thoughts. But in general, consult an accountant in that realm, because I'm not about to give accounting advice.
Yeah, I think that nails it pretty much. Bitcoin, you are the bank, right? You are put in a position where you can report and delve into and get all the information you need to do whatever you feel is fit as well. You can export from Coinos. We'll be talking about this later for merchants, especially merchants will be looking at this type of thing because they're making lots of small transactions. I do think as a word of advice as well, if you are looking at capital gains and pulling all of the different transactions together, obviously keeping good records and labels is super important. Also, you can look at how many transactions you are making and kind of make monthly rather than weekly transactions. People who DCA, for example, think it's a really good strategy. I think recently the DCA option versus lump sum kind of comes out 50-50. But from a capital gains point of view, the DCA just adds like 120 transactions to what you're going to report, whereas an end of the month one would just do the one. At the end of the day, you're put in a position of power. And it is a slight level up from the position of less power we have with the tax system. And where you position yourself with being given that tool is entirely up to you. There are people who can help you. There are tools that will give you everything you need. But it is essentially a power grab, earning and using Bitcoin. And I find that like a good conundrum.
Yeah.
So I kind of hope that helps.
Cool.
Any other questions out there? Or we got one down here at the front.
I saw that in the spending wallet you had a liquid and lightning section there.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious if the funds are held in liquid or in lightning or vice versa, and how that might work, say, if you show up at a Coinos terminal and you'd like to pay instant.
It is natively liquid, meaning that you don't have to worry about establishing lightning channels and liquidity and all of that. In the back end, it uses bolts. Right. As basically a service that allows you to execute what's known as an atomic swap. So you are sending liquid, but it instantly is met on the other side by a service that completes the lightning payment for you, or vice versa. And same thing when we sent to our cold card here. Or sorry, when I sent Pablo's money to my cold card here, it was bolts that was facilitating the swap between liquid and on-chain Bitcoin. So effectively, it's just like a translation layer where whatever you scan, it interprets what you're trying to do and just does it for you, so you don't have to think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great explanation. So if you're transacting with somebody who uses, like, let's say, Wallet of Satoshi, right? Custodial Lightning wallet. You have the Bull wallet, you're sending them money, they don't even know you're in liquid, they don't know. It works with every single layer of Bitcoin. It's a compromise, that's for sure. One of the only compromises, well, it depends on what your philosophy on liquid is. It can go quite far into who are the custodians, how does it work, it's a side chain or is it Bitcoin? But from my experience, one of the only visible and tangible drawbacks is it takes a slight bit longer on a confirmation. It's not lightning fast, it's liquid fluid, right? But it's the only way that we can give beginners, experts, newbies the experience of holding keys, because the 12 words that are the seed phrase for the on-chain wallet, we also BIP derive the liquid wallet from that seed phrase. So you have access to 2 wallets with 1 seed phrase.
I'm going to just, as an example, really quick here, I'm just going to click on my instant payments wallet. And just to recenter, main screen, I tap on the middle, instant payments. If I hit receive while I'm in my instant payment wallet, as a receiver, I just need to know how the person intends to pay me. Kind of like a merchant would say, how are you paying today? And you'd say, oh, Visa or debit or whatever. As a receiver, I just need to know, how's this person sending to me? And then I can specify with the tabs above, oh, I'm receiving a Lightning payment. Okay, great. And then I say, okay, I want to receive, I don't know, I'll say 10,000 sats. Okay, so once I know how the person is paying me, I generate an invoice and they can now scan it. I'm just going to send from another wallet as an example. So I'll just send over from, do I have enough? Yes, I do. So just from, say, Wallet of Satoshi. So Wallet of Satoshi is natively a Lightning wallet. I'll just send from there. And so off it shall go. Once it goes through, though, my wallet is natively liquid. So it is swapping in the background, and I'm going to end up with liquid, even though Wallet of Satoshi sent via Lightning. Okay, so on my end, I know what's happening. The sender doesn't matter.
Hope that answers that. So we'll just wait a second for it to go through, but we've got another question. Yeah.
You mentioned that we can do KYC directly with you here.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about what are the legal rules around KYC, because I always thought that we have to upload our documents and identity
usually
online.
KYC is something that, like, I heard Giacomo, or who was it, Vexel called it kill your client. Usually you have to KYC by scanning your document because you're not in our office. And usually exchanges force you to do that because they're not thinking about alternatives. I spoke with Francis before coming to Learning Bitcoin saying, hey, I really want to onboard people to bull Bitcoin because I'm going to be talking about all the advantages and I'm going to be there available. Is it possible, and I'd heard it was, but I confirmed that it is possible that we can sit down at a table over there and me as an employee, I can do the required legal due diligence to check out that you are who you say you are, and that's all we need. I'll take the reference number off a driver's permit and manually type it into my computer, but I'll never have your photo, your date of birth, a scan of anything, but you'll have full access to bull Bitcoin. And it's like a little hack. It's not even a hack because it's perfectly regulatory, but it's just the ways that we try and think of preserving your privacy, right? So if you are out there being like, KYC, yeah, but there's different levels of KYC. Some exchanges will shotgun KYC you. You'll drop $10,000 on there and they'll ask for something else and something else and something else. We do exactly what's required and nothing more. So in person, I can verify you are who you say you are, which eliminates risks of money laundering and fraud. And that's the only reason you should be really using KYC. It's not to gain a profile on you. It's not to find out your habits, where you live, or eventually dox you to any authority. The only way that authorities can get information from us is with a court order in your name, or if there's serious suspicion of fraud. So we're never going to hand over a spreadsheet of things. And in fact, if you KYC with us and you scan your document, it's only on the server for 30 days, and then we delete it because, again, 30 days is a legal minimum. So we do all of these minimums in terms of KYC. So we are a KYC platform because we have to be, but we make sure that we're doing nothing more than what's required. Does that answer your question? Come on over and check it out. I'd like to show you how simple it can be. Thanks, man. All right, I think that kind of closes out on our little demo time. So just a quick review. So the wallet has all these features, and there's a lot of them. We have encrypted seedless recovery, pay join as defaults. We didn't talk about pay join. We have create and broadcast partially signed Bitcoin transactions, labeling, sweeps, default no-log exchanges. It's a really great way to go. And the exchange also mirrors this. It's Bitcoin only. It's instant and with funding and withdrawals. We can privacy focus your data and make sure that we're giving you a fair and sound and honest service. So super happy to be on stage representing Bull. I'm going to put on my other hat and we'll jump into CoinOS next. But I just want to thank Ben as well for doing live demos with me on stage. So.